Hey guys, welcome back to another video to the channel, and thanks again for the support that was given in the last video. I'm really appreciated since that was the fastest growing video I've ever had on this small but growing channel. Now, lots of people have heard by now about the issues that have been happening with the Unity engine when it comes to their runtime fee, and this has been a huge detriment to basically all developers from the indie scene to the massive AAA. The Unity Runtime Engine Fee is basically a cost to all developers if they meet a certain threshold depending on what Unity plan you have, and you'll basically be forced to pay Unity every time a game is installed. Now, to explain a bit further what these thresholds are, do remember that these changes will apply and start on January 1st, 2024. I've gathered info from Unity's own website discussing this, and we'll have a screenshot of this on the screen for you guys to look at. For the Unity Personal Plus, Unity Plus from what I've heard is being discontinued, so let's just consider it the regular Unity version. To meet this criteria, you basically need to hit both of these goals. You need to have made $200,000 and receive 200,000 installs. That's for the Unity Personal version. For Unity Pro, you need to make $1 million and 1 million downloads, and for the Enterprise version of Unity, you will also have to made $1 million and made 1 million downloads. Now, this seems like it's a goal that most people won't hit, which is the argument of what some people will say. However, this will negatively impact both developers who have and haven't hit the goal, since it's basically a system that punishes you for having too much success. Every time when somebody gets a copy of the game, you need to pay Unity. This also counts every time that you uninstall and install the game, as in installing it alone, not uninstalling. This will seriously add up to fees, which will essentially have the possibility of bankrupting small indie studios if they manage to basically create a small hit on any platform. What makes the situation worse is that if you install the game through free means such as receiving a review copy, game sharing, or even pirating the game, you will still get charged for that copy, and there is no way to track how much you are getting charged, which is a massive turnoff for a lot of people. I unfortunately am one of those developers that essentially grew up using Unity and used it as a hobby to develop small games and projects when I was a teenager before getting serious with it and practicing as much as I could for the last 5 years. I've always aspired to eventually make games with that reach a big audience, which means that there will be sales eventually, leading to those thresholds being met. With this, I can say that this completely demotivates me from even using the engine and continuing with a small project that I've been doing to publish it onto the mobile stores. Mobile games, especially from smaller developers who release a hit on Google Play or the Apple Store, will be the most affected since most games on there are free, and this could lead to very toxic behavior such as installation bombing, where it is basically people who have something against a developer or a game can repeatedly install and uninstall a game, leading to developers to being charged for this, which will make the cost of doing business with Unity something that is extremely unfeasible. This is just many examples of this. Now, the primary reason this is happening, and this is my opinion of course, is because there have been a huge number of free games that have generated an insane amount of cash that Unity doesn't see much money from. Examples of these games are games like Genshin Impact, which is the game that you're seeing on screen here, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout, Among Us, and Honkai Star Rail. There are many more games that I haven't mentioned, but these are some examples of ones with some very huge fan bases. They basically want to get an extra cut of revenue from these installs since they are free games with huge player bases, which in turn will potentially make stuff more expensive in these games, affecting gamers overall. The only other reason I can think of is that the developer user base for Unity is big enough that the higher ups and executives will basically start charging more, since they can basically just get away with it, and developers who have been using Unity for a very long time are essentially trapped within the engine and will have no choice but to either spend a lot of time transferring all their stuff to other engines, which will be very costly, or basically be stuck trying to pay these fees once they keep releasing games, if they decide of course. This also affects all games that were released years ago before people would even know that something like this would happen, which makes this extremely unfair and will eventually lead to people delisting their games on all platforms so that they don't get hit with random bills with Unity. This is also a move that targets game preservation, which is something that's another issue that should be highly addressed. There have been some developers that expressed their concern with these changes, such as Aggro Crab Games on Twitter, or X as someone would say, who develops games under Unity and has them under the Xbox Game Pass. Since these games are included on Xbox Game Pass, every time that someone downloads the game, these developers will get charged. So let's say that these developers have hit their requirements, which they probably have a while ago. If the developers get 1 million installs just from people downloading the game through the Xbox Game Pass alone, these developers will get charged $200,000 just from people downloading the game, which anyone can get under Game Pass in just a few seconds. This will put most game studios out of business, especially if it's a small studio who manages to get a hit game. Other games have this at a much higher extreme at the millions of dollars, with one game by this creator on this article that I'll link here and put pictures of, saying that for their games they'll get charged $5.6 million, which is a huge sum of money to have to pay for fees, which will severely hurt the developers and any future projects they may have. Publishers have also gone against this and have stated their concerns with these changes. With everything here, the reason why I made this video is because lots of people are going to be hurt financially and in many other ways because of the changes done with Unity without any warning. It's always important, no matter how big or small you are as a developer, a publisher, or even a gamer, this will affect us all severely, and it's always good to address these concerns as it can lead to change. If we can get enough support from people around, we can hopefully get these changes reverted, or at least to something that's a lot more manageable. I like using the Unity engine due to the vast knowledge and resources that this engine offers. The community around it is one of the best, which is why I made this video. I've also invested money into projects and resources to better help me learn after each project that I create. Now with these changes, I can only hope for them to revert back, since I'm a game developer that aspires to grow and eventually start a large studio. If these changes stay as they are, then Unity will eventually become a major obstacle when it comes to being successful for most developers out there. From this point on, I'm currently waiting to see if these changes eventually do happen, which I hope they do, but it isn't guaranteed. I'll also probably start looking into switching over to the Godot engine, since it's a great engine for 2D games, which I'm interested at the moment. And we'll start looking for online resources to help with that, or the Unreal Engine, which will require me to learn C++. Thanks again for the support you guys gave me, and please leave a like on this video and other videos that speak about this topic, just to show support and hopefully get these changes back.